Oh, hello. Hello and
Hello.
welcome to Leading Dragons, the platform where fearless leaders share their stories and encourage other leaders to step into action and create the reality that they want to see in their lives. And today we have a guest, a very special guest, all the way from Iceland. Hello, Hedinn. Good morning.
Yay! Good morning.
Good
Or as I al- or as I'll always say, hello and good morning. This is Iceland's Chief Happiness Officer calling.
Yay! Oh, it's great to
It's
have
Euro-
you on the show. Great to have
Thank
you,
you.
Evan.
You know it's Eurovision week, so we have to
Oh, Eurovision. So Iceland. How many points do we have for Iceland?
well, you have to give us 12 points. We are competing together tomorrow. Switzerland and Iceland are together tomorrow on the semi-final. Yes.
Oh wow, really? Oh, I'm going to so watch
Yes.
it. I think the last time I watched it, I was probably 8 years old.
No. This is the most sometimes this is the most fun because it's unbelievable to see what people do in their 3 minutes fame gap. It's not like 15 minutes of fame. It's just like, for me, it's just 3 minutes, and it's unbelievable how much you have to prepare and do stuff and just to sell your song
Right, yeah, and your country.
and your country. Yeah, but it's fun because sometimes you just want to go to the country that wins or are most goofy.
Most goofy. I mean, that's what Eurovision is all about, right?
Yeah, and yeah, but it's fun. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, here in Iceland we use it as yet another event to get plastered.
Get started.
Yeah, get the party going.
Yeah. So yeah, no, it's so it is a lot of fun, and thanks for reminding me. And I will watch Eurovision tomorrow. So it's
Yeah,
Switzerland versus Iceland, or Iceland versus
yes,
Switzerland, and
and some and 14 other countries, but
yeah,
don't
but they're
think
not.
about them.
and, uh, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because okay, so Switzerland is a small country, but Iceland, in
Yes.
population-wise, is even a lot smaller. Is that right?
Yes, yes, we are like a village in Lucerne or something. We are 360,000 inhabitants.
Wow, that's just a
300 and
fraction. That's just a fraction of Switzerland. Switzerland has, I
yes,
think, the population of London, so
yeah.
7 million people. So
So
it's
we
just
are,
it's amazing, isn't it? And
yeah,
so
and maybe we have 30 or 40,000 immigrants. So that's like, so maybe we as Icelandic people, we are only 330, 40,000. So but it's fun. We are celebrating people because we know that we can't do everything by ourselves, and we just invite, like, people are welcome here. So it's always fun.
so Hedinn, tell me and tell us. So so we met through the Humans First community that was
Yeah.
founded by Mike McCanty, and so we met through there. We haven't met in person yet, although I would be delighted to meet you and
Yeah.
to go and see Iceland as well. And you are today, amongst many other things, you are the Chief Happiness Officer of Iceland.
Yeah.
So Hedinn, over to you. Tell us what brought you to where you are today.
Well, as remember me to, you have to say my name in Icelandic before we end all of this. But my story, my name is Hedinn, but we take that later, then we can have a laugh about that. But I worked by Reykjavik Council for 12 years, and in 2016 we were two leisure centers which were put together in one. And in that time, we had to work really hard. And after a period of I think 1 year, I was so drained of energy and I was so tired that I have never experienced it in my whole life. And then I think I started to think about, like, what is it that, why am I doing this? Why am I thinking about work all the time? Why I wake up with my work on my mind. I fall to sleep with my work in my brain. And, you're always, I was never there, as my wife would put it. Like, when I was at home, I was not at home because I was thinking about work.
Mm.
So in 2019, December 2019, I went to Copenhagen for this Chief Happiness Officer Academy by Woohoo, like what it is supposed to say, by Alexander Kerol. And it was the best 4 days of my life. It was just, it was literally like I was reborn, because we were 18 persons there. And it was almost like you met your other brothers and sisters from all over the world. And we are still talking together, and we are talking about May 2021. And when I came back from the course, like 4 days, bear in mind, it's only 4 days. And when I came back and I just went on, it was like I had been to the candy store, and I met my wife at the airport, and I was just like, and then we had this and we did this and I was so excited. And she was just like, hold on for a minute. Are you in a cult? No cult. It's just like happiness, all like happiness. And we have to make a company and we do this and that. And I felt so energized. Like, it was so much energy that it was literally, do you remember when you discovered what you wanted to do with your life? Like, oh, I'm going to do this at uni, or I'm going to do this. And you just like feel how you would get excited as I don't know what. And then in events did it that the 14th of February 2020, I handed in my resignation. And little did I, like the 14th of February 2020, a date to remember because it's Valentine's Day, and the day where me and my wife, we started out. It was the first kiss, like where we made out, and okay, now we are girlfriend and boyfriend. So, and 35 years later.
Oh, congratulations.
So yeah, so 14th is of February is like, plus it's Valentine's Day, but that is American thing. And then afterward, like after I handed in my resignation, the same day, it was like, ooh, not like I became an angel, but
Yeah, that light.
yeah, unbelievable. It was like
It's the universe who's helping you convey your message.
yes. But it was so freeing. And I was, when people were talking about they did something and one door closes, then another one opens, or one window closes, then another window closes. I had never experienced it. On that day, I just, yeah, you can do this, you can do that. And there were a million. It was like, literally, it was like I was reborn. And my leader asked me 10 times, because as little as we knew then, the 14th of February 2020, what happens a month later? Oh, there was this global pandemic thing.
Oh, wow.
And but I kept my course because I had to stick with my decision. I didn't want to take it back, because then I would have been belittled myself. And then the 31st of May 2020 was my last day at work, or like it was a weekend, but doesn't matter. And on the 2nd of June, I started my podcast in English. And that was a huge step for me, because talk about my teenage year came bubbling up, because when I was going to post my first episode, I was just like, no, what about if the Icelandic people hear my English? Oh, they will think it's shit. no, what about this? What about that? And until my wife said, hit that effing button. And I was just like, okay.
We know who's boss then.
Yeah, of course. You're married. I'm married. Like, my wife is, yeah. And even though all my plans, they went out the window because of COVID, I was happy. I was truly happy. I was so free. And okay, as I say, one door closed, another one opened. I ended up as a waiter in a great restaurant on the countryside with my mate from school, from the elementary school. And it's just like, I get to talk to people. I get to be curious about people. Okay, he has to remind me that I also have to clean the tables, but that is not a totally different matter. But like, I can explore and I can be curious, and then people just go, and you can have this sense of you're alive. And the best part is, one evening when I was working after work, my biggest concern was, did I give that man the toothpick?
The toothpick?
Yeah. And then I just fell asleep. That was the biggest worry that day. And I was just like, oh my God, I love this.
Yeah.
And you don't have to criticize yourself, or like, I can be myself. I can be goofy. I can, if people come with the kids, I just say to them, if the kids are like this because they can't get a hamburger and French fries or stuff, I just like, who shit on your head? Why are you like this? You are here to enjoy. And they just like, their eyes just like, who is this? Who is this guy? Why can't? So I try to spread also joy and laughter.
Wow, Hedinn, that's such a beautiful. It's your purpose in life.
Yes, and then I started to think about happiness more and more, and I decided to have I named my company True Happiness, and I'm still working on just building it. I think I'm a slow learner because I have been on the payroll for so long time. Then all of a sudden, when you're a contractor, then it's just like when you're going through university again, because there are so many things you have to learn and think about and do. And I'm just, yeah, why not? Because in 2016, when the merger was announced and our leader came and you are all laid off and you have to apply for the job, and I sat there, no, I'm 48 years old. No, nobody's sacking me, no. And my world was crumbling because I got in this panic state.
Yeah.
Who wants to hire a 48-year-old guy who is like goofy and does not take anything serious? So I'm in charge now. I'm in charge, and I hired a bunch of people to be with me. This is Harry.
Oh, hello, Harry.
Yes, hello.
Harry,
and then we have Harry,
okay.
like because of the hair.
Yeah,
like
I love his hair.
We can be together. And then we have Froggy.
Oh, hello. I love Froggy. Oh yeah,
yes.
He's springy.
He's green and he's Danish, so that's.
And he's Danish.
And then we have Seely. Seely. It's supposed to be Seal. It's afterward.
You got these happiness friends.
Yes, and then I have Teddy behind me.
Yeah,
a big teddy bear.
Teddy earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
and then we have.
Right now.
Oh, he's so tired.
Is he?
He's busy thinking. Yeah, he's busy thinking for me. And then we have Woody, but I will not show him to you.
All right, sorry, I'm actually going to move very swiftly onto the next point.
And then we have these like the
Oh,
trolls.
oh,
Hello.
brilliant. Oh, I love the
But,
trolls. They're so cute. Is that he and her?
yeah, and piggy bank. Like it's just like, so I can talk to my buddies. I can no, I never shout at them, but like,
And they help you. They help you on a daily basis. They accompany you.
yeah. It sounds like I'm crazy, but I'm not.
No,
It's
but
just
honestly, I think it's just great. And you know, like I
it's
said
just
to you,
to have, yeah.
yeah. And so Hedinn, with all your friends there, your desk friends, and with especially with all your friends, and I'm sure probably all of Iceland totally love you, and you know you're known across the country, spreading joy. And so I'm just really curious because it sounds like your turning point. Well, there are two turning points that you raised. So there was one in 2016 when you were faced with that adversity where your employer just went, well, we're restructuring. So Hedinn, thank you very much.
Mm.
And you even described it as your world that was crumbling around you, and that's quite a scary place to be. Do you want to tell us a little more about how you navigated and well, how you experienced that time of fear, given that well, leading dragons are fearless leaders, and you are one of those, and they work
I
through their fear.
Yeah. I think it becomes when you think about the past, because sometimes we get so caught up in the past that like a good friend of also a lady from in Humans First, Vicky Poole, where she says like your past don't define your future, does not define your future. But in my upbringing, I'm a child of an alcoholic, and as my wife said when we started in '86 as a couple, she said I was the least romantic person in the world, or the baddest, because I was totally not into romantics. And when we were making plans or talking about the future, as you do when you are in a new relationship, I was always, but what if? What if? And my life back then was based on that fear. What if fear? I couldn't plan like 6 months ahead, because as I always said to my wife, what if times are different then? Like they would like shift from here to here in 6 months. It was just like, but that was my fear in me, because of you never knew when you were growing up with my father, like because you never knew how the situation would be. And he was not violent, something, but it was just like I could never invite friends home when he was in the state and stuff. And when I think the fear came up in me in 2016, it was just because when you have been living in this world of cotton, where you like, you know that when you're working with the council or for the community, then you are secure. You're secure in your employment because they can't fire you, they can't do this, they can't do that. And all of a sudden you just like, no. And it was just like, what? And the ridiculous things that we had, but then they retracted it, and we were only 8 who had to apply for the 4 jobs that we got to, and in the sense, and then we had to list up all of our things, what we have done the last 12 years or whatever. And my opponent, when I started to work in the youth clubs in 1990, he was 1 year old. Thank you. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Are you really going to make me go through all of this for? So I think when you start, if you have this notion of fear, then all of a sudden it's just like, and my wife, we talk a lot together, and we discuss this topic every now and then, because she has her own thing and I have my thing, and then we talk about it. Why is it that we why is it that we behave like this in a certain situations? And but I got through it, and at that time, my leader and my co-workers were great, but I think we supported each other in this hectic times. But it made me realize that, and when also I will mention that I think it was in January 2018 rather than 2019, where I was on a lecture or a keynote speak about stress, that I discovered, oh my God, that's me. And I was literally on the verge of something bad. And I decided, okay, now I need to step up. I need to do something. I need to think about me first. Because sometimes it is that we forget about ourselves. And I think I was stressed, I was worried, I had to go on medication because I was just so out of it. I stood up and I went like when you're in the office space, you stand up and go out the door. And maybe I was going to the toilet, but I ended up in the kitchen getting coffee and sitting down. And then 3 hours later, I was just like, did I go to the toilet? I was so confused. I was so.
You were disconnected.
And my colleague.
It sounds like you were disconnected from yourself.
Yes, and my colleague said it also, that can you do this and call me afterwards? And then 3 days later, they said, have you been looking into this? And I was like, into what? And they were just like, that we were talking together. And it was a horrible feeling. I have never, and I was just like, never again, never again.
Yeah, how long did that last, that period? And what triggered you to change, to first of all recognize that? Because even just recognizing it and seeing it for what it really is, and going and making that decision to say, I've got to change something now.
Yeah, I think in 2017, after the year when we have merged, I was really tired, and I thought that things would go slower in the autumn of 2017, but it kept on going. So in 2018, I think that is the timeline, that it didn't stop. Like we were still having loads of stuff to do, and I was on 24/7, and I was thinking about job and everything. And then what triggered it was at Christmas in 2018, when I think it was the second day of Christmas or the third day of Christmas, the 27th of December. I told my wife, tomorrow I will receive an email from my boss, and I will probably go, I think my body will crumble. And lo and behold, I got an email from my boss the next day, and I could just feel how my stomach just, and I just literally, I had to phone her and say, there's something wrong. So I contacted my doctor and said, I'm in this state, can you help me? And I think after I got my medicine, it's just like one tablet of something to help me at the time. And I think in 10 days, I could literally feel how if you have talked to people with ADHD, where thoughts are everywhere, they are everywhere. And after 10 days, I just, this is not supposed to be here. This should be here. Oh, this should be here. Like I could reorganize my brain. It was just like, it was unbelievable. And I said to my wife, I can feel I'm back. Oh, I'm back. But I think in this process, when we are talking about 2019. So maybe the universe was just guiding me towards what happened a year after. you know, in December 2019, the Chief Happiness Academy, and resigning and stuff. And it's just, when you see it in this timeline, you just, oh, maybe there is more to life than, there's something.
So I wonder, I'm asking myself the question, what was that pill that the doctor gave you?
Oh, it's some, I don't know if it's a happy pill or it's a depression pill or whatever. Like it's working. So I'm not going to.
You're like, yeah, that's great. Move on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, but we discussed it. I have had the discussion with him when you should go off, because it's never healthy to stay on the same drug for many years. So, but when I'm good and ready, I think I will say, because you have to, it's the serotonin in your brain, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to have it. So that's maybe lacking a little bit. So
Hedinn, you know, you went through these, two turning points. So the one in 2016, and then when your employer, when you left the council, and then one in 2019, when you went on that 4-day retreat with the academy with 18 other chiefs.
Well, I didn't leave the company in 2016. It was more like a wake-up call.
Yeah.
You are indisposable. Like, you are just like, something.
And at the beginning of this conversation, Hedinn, you were saying you were using a lot of words to describe happiness, and you said it was just so wonderful that I became worry-free, stress-free, and instead I was putting my energy into exploring with others, getting really curious about other people.
I'm a curious person, and my parents, they were always, why are you so curious? But it pays off now, because I'm like, I love talking, I love interacting with people.
Yeah, no, it's great, and I can feel your vibe. I mean, it's, you know, definitely high vibe. And so if I was thinking, so your mission as a Chief Happiness Officer today in Iceland, what is it?
I really want to talk to people and talk to companies about empowering the person, like the employee, or not even companies, but just people in general. Because when we have these tendencies to belittle people, and believe me, I've probably been there in my younger days, but you have to see the potential in people and what is their role. And it's just like, I have this story of my father, because he was a funny guy, and I take a lot from him. But when I was studying in Denmark, I was working in a kindergarten. It was a 3-month period to see if you were like, that was what you were supposed to do, and they were like, see if you were qualified and stuff. And he asked me, is it right that you're working in a kindergarten? I said, yes. Well, you can go into your room and you can pack your things and you will come home tomorrow. And I was in Denmark, he was in Iceland. And I had to I told him, okay, listen up, father. In 20 years, when you are probably like 6 feet under, and if I still am working in a kindergarten, I will probably be happy, because it's my choice. It's not your choice what I'm going to do. And I think sometimes parents, they put a pressure on their kids in doing something that they literally don't want to do. Why is it that people, they go in a certain direction and then they wake up at 40 or something and they go and, I always love to do ceramics. And then all of a sudden they are wandering around and just like working as a ceramic, I don't know what they're called, and just living their life. Why is it? Why? You have a strength in you. And if you can recognize the strength, It's just like teenagers, just telling them, I believe in you. Please believe in you. That's the main target. Like I have twins, they are 20. And we tried our best to say, you are good enough. We are not telling you to do this or do that. The only thing we ask of you is be true to yourself, be polite, and then the rest will follow. Because if you're sorry.
Yeah, no. When you say that, I'm going. Thank you for the reminder, because I have one teenager at home, and perhaps I don't tell him that enough.
And it's also the same as when we tell somebody that we love them, because I really did not know if my parents loved me, because they were of the generation, they were born in 1925 and 1929, and they're brought up in a world state where the kids just, maybe they died after 3 days, maybe 5 years, like it was totally different things. And I never knew, but I knew my father loved me because I could hear it from other people where he was bragging about me in parties and stuff. But when we were discussing having killed kids, I told my wife, I am going to tell them morning and night that I love them. Because for me, it's the most important thing. Because I could fall down off my chair now and die, but they know that I love them. And when they started in school or kindergarten, I always told them, I love you and have a great day at work, because we were trying to implement that the school was work,
So Hedinn, you're no doubt a fabulous dad, and your girls must absolutely adore you.
Oh, it's a boy and a girl.
Oh, a boy and a girl, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, they must adore you anyway. And
well, I hope so.
Anyway, at least they know that you adore them. And
oh yes.
So if we were to translate this piece about empowering young ones, older ones, at home, outside home, how does that translate for leaders, and why is it so important today?
I think we are in this state of social media that you just get this ridiculous ideas that you have to be like this or that, and everything. If it's out of the ordinary, then that's a bad thing. And I think that we have to just build a wall, or I don't know if it's a build a wall. I have to just say stop and be yourself. You can't be somebody else, because like the fashion industry has been criticized for their models and stuff. It's horrible. But the worst thing is that I don't think nobody wants to be there. And when you talk to like kids, they just go there because everybody else is there. And if you do something out of the ordinary, then you get picked on. And it's really funny that when I was working in the youth clubs, I was maybe somebody who had a fabulous voice, singing voice. And I was just like, please you are absolutely brilliant. Please participate in this. We have the song contest in the youth club system and for the country. And no, I can't, because they will ridicule me and stuff. And then 3 years later, when they were in high school, I was watching telly, and then all of a sudden they were participating in the high school singing competition. I was just like, say what? But it is something happens when you go to high school. You just go out of the state you're in. And I think I don't mind. I can be the goofy one. I can ask the silly question when we are listening to a lecture or watching a keynote speak or a workshop. But I think it's befreeing for other ones who can just ask silly questions and nobody laughs, because it sets the premise. Because sometimes you restrict yourself because, oh no, if I ask this question, it sounds stupid, and I will like, oh, I will be red-faced, and I will, oh, it will be hot in here, whatever. So I have been in that role for many years, and I don't mind, because if I don't ask, then who knows where the discussion goes?
No,
Just as we too.
and just and listening to you, I just remembered when I was so I'm born and bred in the UK, in London, and I went to a girls' school, which was at the time a reputed girls' school near London, and I'm naturally curious. And I remember a teacher that I had, Miss Grant, and she would ridicule me in front of the class because I'd be asking questions. So I stopped asking questions, just to not to be ridiculed at the
Oh,
bus anymore. Can you imagine?
it's horrible.
Yeah.
And I was just watching also on a documentary about stutter the other day, and a guy, I think he was my age, and when he was trying to ask a question, or when he was trying to read a text when he was in school, he got hit on with the whatever they used in England at those days, and was said, talk properly. And what was his profession? He was a lorry driver, because then he could be alone, and he could hide himself, and I could literally see. I was just, oh my God, he is just great person, this guy. Why are you doing this to people? It's horrible.
Yeah. But that brings me to ask you the question: why do you think still today, and it is shifting, but at least in my humble opinion, it's not shifting fast enough. Why is it that still in the majority of organizations, even the newer ones that have completely, just like for instance Google and Amazon, why is it that we still see so many practices around power and control and top down? Why do you think that is?
I think maybe it's because of fear. They want to have us in fear. They want to have the employees. It's a fear-based leadership, because you can outshine. If you have an employee who is great, and if he outshines the leader, what will happen? That is the main problem. It is fear-based, and you see when you're watching like pictures or movies or from like historical things, and you're thinking about, why is it that men are always dictating everything? Why is it that, how did that become that women were less of a human person, like human being, because of, I don't know, like your role was to be a breeder, or like, it's just because I totally respect my wife. She played soccer or football. She was the sporty type, and she has a brain equally or even better than my brain, because she is my rock. And we discuss things, and I would not have a problem with, like, we have had a female president, we have a female prime minister, like, but why is it that do more of this? And I find it ridiculous. And in the moment we got our twins, that in the second they are born, he has more opportunities than her. Why is it? And we were always, when in the upbringing, we were always telling her, and think about, like we have to do it as parents. You are qualified as much as he to do whatever you like. But society just
If only, and I no doubt Iceland is I'm thinking of New Zealand, and I think also Norway. They have women presidents, women who are leading the country, and who are closing that gender diversity gap, because complementarity and diversity of thought at the table can only enhance performance and enhance our collective intelligence inside organizations, and also open up options, opportunities, and innovative thinking, which is probably something that's even more relevant, today as, a good year into the pandemic. We are talking about the future of work and hybrid workplaces. And you've just opened a can of worms there, Hedinn, about the
but it is also, I think because of the fear-based, maybe we have to look at where are the progressive leaders who dare. I think maybe Richard Branson, he is there. He trusts people. He finds his who.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I'm reading this book who is called Who Not How, and it's fabulous because when you listen to it and you go back in mind, you go back to the times when you were in school, in elementary school, it was always about the how. It was never about the who. If I have a problem, okay, and if I can say, okay, how do I do it? How do I do it? How do I do it? And you get nowhere. But then, who can help me with this? Oh, I know Deborah, she can help me. Find your who. You don't have to know it all.
That's a really powerful message. Find your who, Hedinn.
Yes, and it's just like you don't know everything. You can't know everything, and
imagine how different the world would be with people working in organizations where leaders, they get it. They're not supposed to know all the answers. That's not the role of a leader. And it's actually doing just that, which is, okay, we've got a problem or we have a crisis. Instead of siloing off, let's all get together and go, right, we're in the same boat. Who can do what as we navigate this crisis or try and solve that problem?
And I think many companies last year when the pandemic hit, that they, instead of being alone and get everybody stressed out and stuff, many companies, they met with the employees on our hand. How can we solve it? How can we help each other what to do? Because, okay, we don't want to lay you off. We don't want to do this. So if we can everybody go to, instead of 100%, go to like job percentage and stuff. And when it came to creativity, go home and work. There were all sorts of things. People, but and then again, I think it is in this book, when you progress, when you get up the ladder and you realize this is not because you are used to and you are really loving it, being on the floor, talking to people, being curious, and then you get some executive role and you hate it. And in a year or two, then you'll quit because it's not worth it. It's not for everybody. We don't have to do this. But at the same time, it's bad. Then you have to stay at the same level and you never get a pay raise or whatever. But I think we have to believe.
Hedinn, if there's one thing that you would like to see change with organizational leaders today around the world, what would that one, what's the most important thing you believe? The most important change that needs to happen?
Have faith in your employees. That they are like, there must be a reason why they want to work with you, work for you. And if they know your vision, if they know the company's vision, and they know what they're expected of them, like trust them to do their job and empower them and reward them. Like I'm not talking about sending them to the pictures or to the theater and stuff. Just give them a hug when you are allowed, or like tell them, tell them and thank you and be grateful for their work, because they are a link in the chain, and if they do a great job, then you have to tell them, because I think there are many people, many employees who just don't know if their work matters. They just go. They just wake up and another day at the office.
Yeah.
And they have no purpose. They have no sense of purpose. They don't know the vision of the company, and they don't know what is expected of them. Go up and they do their stuff. Right?
Hedinn, thank you so much. So
oh, no, you're not off. You're not off the hook, because you still have my name to say.
oh no, yes, in Icelandic. How did you say it
So
at the beginning? It was without the D, or you pronounce the D differently. Hedinn.
and the E, because it's Hedinn.
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 Hedinn. Is that
You're
right?
close. You're close.
Hedinn.
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 Yeah.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I might get a ticket to Iceland then.
Yeah.
So I look forward to watching Iceland be goofy and Switzerland even more goofy. We'll see who gets goofier tomorrow on the Eurovision Song Contest. So
yes.
We'll connect back into that. Hedinn, thank you so much. Thank you for being a dragon on my show, and we'll see you very soon again.
Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure.
Same.